So I'm still in Hollywood, California, just outside the Mindbody Fitness Conference, and my guest in this episode is Vito. That's a pretty badass Italian name, isn't it? Vito is one of the top speakers at this conference and is known as a no BS business educator, personal brand coach, and certified high performance coach. In this episode, Vito previews what the upcoming marketing year will look like for fitness studios and independent gyms in 2017 and the importance of using technology, automation, and easy-to-use online tools to join the new year with the big dogs. We also share a few resources with you where you can learn how to get these ideas in place so your fitness studio can grow and scale.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. What's up, Vito? How you doing?
Mike, doing great. How are you?
Great. So I was excited to get you on the show when I heard about you and what you do. So why don't you start by just telling everybody just a little bit about you and what you do all day, every day.
Sweet. I like it. First of all, appreciate having me on. This is cool to always connect with other pros that are out there trying to help the fitness industry. But all I do every day is kind of what you do. Teach business and marketing to the fitness industry, but I focus mostly on teaching them how to shift online and how to build that way. And I just spend every day either dreaming up systems, trainings, or programs to help the fitness professional, the healthcare professional, start building a bigger business, getting their vision out, getting their message out, and we grind at it every day.
When you say shift online, tell me more about that. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, here we are in a new economy where if you don't have elements of your business online and mobile, well, you're leaving yourself a little vulnerable because then you're only stuck in the geography of what your business does. And even if you are brick and mortar, if you're not using online or mobile to drive traffic to your business, you're just vulnerable from what other people are doing out there. And so I'm teaching elements of how to use online to drive to offline, or how do you start taking your expertise, your programs, your packages, and start offering them in an online coaching program or an info product. So now we're creating diversity of revenue streams, so you're not just relying on the brick and mortar revenue. Make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're here at Mindbody right now, where you just finished your talk.
Yep.
Like what, 30 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago?
Pretty much.
So what was your talk about here?
It was about the client relationship formula. Okay. And the idea that in a world where we are literally bombarded with social media, information overload, choices out the wazoo, that in order to be in control of our revenue, our growth, our message, we have to learn to be in control of the relationships that we have with our people. Because people are blitzed with everything, and the industry is a little notorious for being like, hi, just met you, bye.
Right.
Hi, just met you, bye. Take me out there. I'm like, you know what, if we can learn how to develop better relationships with our people by also utilizing like online programs and technology and automation and autoresponders and all that kind of good stuff, we can nurture them from prospect to buyer without having to physically be present all the time ourselves.
Okay.
And it's important if we're going to look at the fact that the biggest bottleneck to anybody in the brick and mortar world is time and their physical presence. I remember when I was a studio owner, I'm like, when I'm doing the sale, when I'm doing the consult, it's happening. When I'm talking to somebody and moving them along down the chain, it's happening. But if not, it's not going on.
Right.
But now online and mobile, you're literally like, I can do this, shoot a video, talk to my customer, talk to my prospect, and they feel like I'm learning from you, I'm being educated by you. We're dating each other as we're moving along, so that I can set up the ideal way for us to propose to each other, if you will,
right,
and seal the deal and hopefully bring them into a program.
So that's high level, which is great because that's the best way to start off this. Let's now kind of get into it. So let's say my name's Susie, I'm a 33-year-old woman,
Okay.
mother of 3. I haven't worked out in 5 years because it's been tough with the kids. Now, things are working out to where I have a nanny, I can get back in the gym.
Okay.
And so what does the journey look like for me, Susie? What do I start seeing and what do I start paying attention to? And what am I feeling and what's the journey like from me today to when I become a paying member at your gym?
Awesome. I like that you're putting it right into the avatar, if you will.
Right.
So first thing, I think that more studios and things they got to get a little bit more specific in the tribe that they want to talk to. It's kind of notorious that we do try to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's why I think when you and I were on the call, we were talking about what's the average studio making,
Right.
about 297 or so,
Right.
297,000 in revenue. That's because everybody's competing on the same thing, the Gen Pop.
Right.
And we're in a saturated market now that if somebody can just start saying like, I want to go after a certain avatar, tribe member, who do I love serving? First right there, you're going to fill your business up with more of the people that you love being
Right.
surrounded by. So starting with that tribe. So you said 33-year-old stay-at-home mom, give me that avatar
Yep,
again.
33-year-old woman, stay-at-home mom. Now I got a nanny to help me with the kids. Haven't worked out in 5 years.
Okay.
Got to get back
So
in.
stay-at-home mom, if we take that, what is, anybody, when they sit down, they're going to look for a solution. They're going to look for help for something. They sit down maybe at Google or something like that, and they're like, how to get fit again? How to do whatever again? So it's the stay-at-home mom, like, haven't worked out in years. I don't even know what's going on in that anymore. So how do I start my fitness? Let's just use that as something. Well, that's her first thing. She's looking for help there. So if you know that, then you're able to be like, oh my God, do you know whenever I got a beginner in my studio, I have to tell them the same freaking 3 things over and over. You got to do this, and is it you're going to build your own program? Are you going to work with somebody?
Right.
And how do you just create time management? Because your biggest problem, stay-at-home mom, is you don't know how to make time for yourself. And every time you do make time, you feel guilty because you got that mom guilt thing.
You're choosing fitness over the kids.
Correct. And she's dealing more with that emotional thing, that if you're like, well, in order for her to make a decision to start a program, if I don't deal with that stuff first, she won't make the educated buying decision. All she's going to be looking for is, well, that studio's got 50% off, that one is 75% off.
It's a rational decision as opposed to an emotional decision.
Exactly. So you can then be like, all right, so I want to bring her into my business so I can start creating content about 3 massive mistakes stay-at-home moms make when they start a training program or when they want to get back into fitness. So now when she's Googling stuff, she's just like, oh, look at this video on I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't want to make these mistakes when I get back to my fitness. What is it? Not making time for myself, choosing the wrong trainer, and going to a facility for cheap sales. I'm making crap up.
Right.
But now she's just like, whoa, you're teaching me something, and I don't want to make those mistakes. So a little results in advance, a little value in advance, well, that also builds trust. That builds authority. Not many studios are doing that kind of thing.
They're not really putting out content at all.
Exactly. So now, we always talk about studios, trainers, they struggle with what content to put out. But when you know your avatar, and you know what she's struggling with, it's very easy to come up with content.
Right.
Because now you're just like, well, what's her problems? Let me go shoot content and teach her how to get over those. And that becomes the nice free stuff on the front side that moves people into like opt-in pages and opt-in lists
Right.
and emails and all that. But then you're able to start moving them down the chain and just being like, well, that was like a first date.
Right.
Now my second date might be like, hey, come on in for a consult or something like that, if that's what you want to drive to. Then you just start methodically kind of planning, how many times do I need touch points with this person? Because most people aren't ready to be like, I just saw you today, buy from me.
Right.
That's the stuff that's been kind of bad in our industry. But if we can deliver some value more frequently, because let's just say the person's not ready to buy today, but that content is still coming, we're still nurturing the relationship with them, and we might be moving them to the buying decision of, you know what, Mike is the guy for me. I really like what he's been talking to me about, and holy cow, he actually has like a stay-at-home moms get back in the game fitness program, not just, hey, here's your membership or here's a training session. It's relevant program to her life. We're gonna make a big difference that way.
Well, and they feel that connection. We just shot an episode at a pickle factory. I don't know if you got a chance to see that one.
I don't know if I saw that one.
So we shot it at a pickle factory because the guy in the episode was Russ Perry, and he's the founder of Design Pickle. He just called it Design Pickle, but he's an unlimited graphic design company. It's a SaaS company. It's really cool. He's doing really, really well. But the whole episode was on finding your niche in the industry and how it's helped. And we talked a lot about success stories, and one of them was ridiculously niche, even more niche than a stay-at-home mom, right? So some people may be hearing that and going, that sounds way too niche, right? Like that's limiting way too many people. And this one person that we talked about is doing about $400K a year in sales with a team of like 2 or 3 people, very small. It's really just her and a couple
All
assistants. Mix of online and in person.
I like it.
And
It's hybrid.
all she does is work with hockey goalies.
That's right.
Just hockey goalies, right? And so I think there's that fear, and I get it because I was the same way. But it's true. Now when we're looking at your world, in that episode we talked a lot about the benefits of niche, but now we're talking about in the marketing, because it's true, coming up with content is tough. And when I had a marketing agency and we worked with everybody, I don't care if you were a doctor or a dentist or a chiropractor or a clown at kids' birthday parties, whatever, right? It didn't matter. I would work with you, and I had no idea how to put out content that was good for all of you. And so what happens is I put out content today that may be good for these guys and they like it, but these guys don't feel a connection. And so then the next time I put out content, these guys may be perfect for it, but they don't even really open it because they feel like what I put out isn't really good for them. So they don't even get to see how perfect it is.
And then they feel like it's spam.
And they feel like it's spam, right? And so when you have one particular person you talk to, like right for us, fitness studios, for you, fitness studios, for this fitness studio we're talking about in this hypothetical situation, stay-at-home moms, it's easy to come up with content because we know exactly what they're going through, and it's easy to do research to find out more about what they may be going through.
That's right.
Because we just have to talk to them.
Yeah.
We know exactly what it is.
The fear of my niche is going to be too small isn't really a rational one anymore when you're really like, hold on, there's this thing called Google and there's this thing called the internet. You're like, I can find like stay-at-home moms that like quilting, that have one kid and build a freaking niche out of it. Because then they're literally like, oh my God, you actually know you know my entire world.
Right.
You know that I want to create time for this. You know that I'm dealing with one kid. You know this, that like, it just doesn't exist that way anymore as to being like, I mean, you still got to do research and verification. That's a viable market and there's things in there. But going uber specific is actually how you're going to create a better level of authority and expertise. And you're going to create more world-class products. Because you're literally like, I'm so deep in what I want to do to deliver value and help you, as compared to I'm diffused, trying to handle everybody. Then you're creating mediocre things as compared to creating world class.
Right, and one of the things that Russell Brunson, I don't know if you follow Russell Brunson.
Totally.
One of the things he was talking about that was really cool was being able to get in the media that way. Because reporters don't find a business that helps everybody interesting.
That's right.
They find but like a stay-at-home mom, so what do? We just work with stay-at-home moms. That's it.
Right.
That haven't worked out in 4 or 5 years and are looking to get back into it. We have a process to help them get through that. A reporter will eat that up.
That's right.
And it's easy to get in the news. And but these places, we help everybody. Yeah, we have moms too. We have dads too. We have cousins too.
That's
and firefighters. Yeah, we help firefighters. We have everybody.
Here's the thing, because to your exact point, that if you're not showing up different and unique now, it's just like a sea of sameness. And everyone's still marketing like classes, sessions, 7-day free trial, and not. Everybody's doing that. And I know that every one of them believes that they're unique, believes that they're
every
different.
one of them. Every
100%. But their ability to articulate that is what they're not doing. So then what are they all competing on? Is price. They're becoming a commodity. It's funny, I was reading this article, Oprah Winfrey took like 10% or whatever it is of Weight Watchers.
Yeah.
And the Oprah bump is over. And the stock is plummeting off the backside. Why? Because even with celebrity, when they can't figure out how to compete with free and all the stuff that's available free and online now, they're like, we can't compete with our high value prop in a world of free unless you start being like, I only speak to you, I'm your person. That's going on in the industry, and it's why everyone is one sale price away from losing a customer to another person that just stepped in the market, boot camp there, CrossFit there, that person there. People can't tell the difference, and that's not a fun way to do business.
Right. One of the stats I heard, and we brought it up in the last episode, but I think it's relevant to our talk too, Roxanne was talking. She's a consultant for over 1,000 fitness studios now, and she was speaking here at Mindbody, and she said that it's totally normal for, in fact, it's average, 10% retention rate for group class fitness studios, right? Like yoga and all that, which sounds ridiculous. And anybody watching or listening right now is going to be thinking, oh no, that's not me. That's not me. Well, you're probably not tracking and measuring, right? Because that's what she said.
Glad you said that.
But she said at the end of a 12-month cycle, you may have 10% of the people still with you on a regular basis.
Right.
And she says that's average. Good is 50 to 60%. She says that's like top of the top. And the reason is because of what you just said. It's so saturated.
Yeah.
You got this gym that also helps you, and 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 your brother, and your sister, and your teacher, and your son,
Yep.
right? Like, so it's kind of like, why not give this one a shot? Oh, they have an offer. Why not give this one a shot?
Oh, they got prettier amenities, and they've got this.
No, this
that.
schedule is better for me. What
Right.
not? And so little by little, they can look at all the different pieces and make sense of to why they should give something else a shot. Because at the end of the day, the reason they always quit fitness in the first place, the average person, is because they can't commit in the first place.
That's right.
They just can't. They have a commitment problem. That's your customer.
That's right.
And so you have to remember that. And if you're just like everything else, you're gonna have that problem. But if these studios work together and say like, hey, look, I'm gonna work with stay-at-home moms. How about you? Man, I want the dad category. I want the dads that want to get in shape and want to do some dad stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to work with the high school kids that really want to take it to the next level and make sure they have the best opportunity to get in a scholarship. Which is going to be too scary for everyone to do, and stubborn people aren't going to unfortunately make that choice, but it'll help.
Okay, let's take, if you go that uber specific versus being freaked out by it. Well, one, yes, you can dominate your local market now, but your local market, you're only going to have so many like high school kids that want to play football. But when you go that uber specific, you're like, I can build this to an online program and I can market and target high school football athletes across the freaking nation, wherever the hell football is. Then now you're like, oh my God, I'm not limited by geography anymore because I went uber specific. You can't Gen Pop, you can't market across the thing because you're like, everybody's doing that. You're completely lost, and you're bastardized that way, and you're commoditized that way. But uber specific, you're like, I can use Facebook ads and different online things to now do like, I speak just to that person. I know how to put that content in front of that person, and now I'm building my tribe with no boundaries.
Right, and that's the thing with the hockey goalie, what she did, right?
That's exactly.
She
I think I
started
know what you're
offline.
talking about.
Yeah.
I think I bought her product once because I was just like, I was working with a couple pro hockey guys that wanted to go, and I was just researching like hockey info products, and I think I saw her stuff, and I'm like, she only works with goalies.
Yeah, it's incredible. And she started offline, and then she made a choice. I'm going to learn this online stuff, right? Which is a choice, just like these fitness studio owners ask their members to make all the time, is good choices, right? So now we're asking the fitness studios to do the same thing for their business, right? Because that's your thing that you're wanting to work on and get better at. And all she did was make a choice and said, I'm going to learn the online game. Because she wouldn't be able to, in a 5-mile radius, 7-10 mile radius, she wouldn't be able to get enough goalies to be able to.
She'd have like 15, 20 goalies.
Tops.
Yeah.
And that'd
be crazy.
That'd be hard to do. But $400,000 a year, because she's selling an online course, she has camps, she has clinics that people will travel to. They'll pay more for. Their local personal trainer that would help them, as well as the stay-at-home mom, would charge them way less, but they couldn't do it.
Mike, I just don't think yet the industry is really just wrapping their head around, because they love, when we were technicians, we loved being on the floor. And sometimes there's this connotation of like, you're not on the floor, you're not really training people anymore. And you're like, well, it's not true, because I could just reimagine the way I do it. I can put on a week-long camp, charge people $1,000, $2,000 to come in for a week. I'd still get the live element, but it's on my terms. I run that once a month, once a quarter, whatever. The rest of mine is online. I just don't think they look at the pieces of all the elements, retreats, mastermind coaching, events. They think that once you just build an info product, that's it. You're totally like, I'm off the live game. And I think that scares them sometimes. They're fearful of that. But you're like, no, there's ways to just do it. But now you're putting on, like, in a weekend event, you had 50 people come in for $1,000 weekend. Well, you made 50 grand in a weekend.
Right.
That's different than you grinding 10, 12 hours a freaking day.
And you've still got buyers to sell more to later.
That's right.
Because they'll buy more from you.
That's right. That's right.
And the thing is too, when you're talking about the changes that they're going to have to learn, they may not even know where to go. But starting out someplace simple like digitalmarketer.com has a ton of really great free stuff. ClickFunnels has a ton of really great content. I'm sure you have a bunch of great content on your site and stuff, right? Yeah. And I know we do. But there's just so many places to learn. It's just making a choice. But it's the same thing. You have your members that come in, and don't tell me that there's never a member that comes in, or many members that think that they're going to have to do bench press, or they're going to have to do sit-ups, or they're going to have to starve themselves, or they're going to have to come in 6 times a week, and then you educate them. Like, no. There's like a lot of things.
Let's get rid of those myths. Let's get rid of those things.
Yeah, let's debunk those. There's a lot of things that you can eat. we'll just help you, show you how to do it. And there's a lot of different workouts that we can do. There's cool stuff with ropes. What do you mean ropes? Oh, see, there's more. But they didn't even think about it because they didn't know what they didn't know. And in this world, in the business, I don't think it's any different. You don't know what you don't know, but you got to make a choice to learn what's out there, because you're crazy to think that in 2020 the world's going to look the way it does today.
I'm glad you went there, because like the reality, I think, is that if you don't start making this choice soon, in the next 3 to 5 years, it's going to be tough for you. You're either
because even the late adopters are doing it.
Correct. And if you're just like, the proverbial ostrich with the head in the sand, not looking up, you're going to find yourself out.
Right.
You're going to find yourself bankrupt, not being able to compete, going obsolete, because it's just things are moved too fast now. We're moving at a quick pace that you have to move with the market. And if you're the business studio owner, I know that's most of your tribe, you've got to be the technician maybe 10% of the time. The rest, you need to be the marketer of whatever the thing is you do, not the doer of it.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that scares them as much, because oftentimes they don't have the revenue coming in, and they're worried that, well, if I'm not on the floor as much, then that's not as much money coming in my pocket and whatnot. Well, there's a short-term pain for a long-term gain.
Right.
I had to go through that for a period where I was just like, okay, if I'm on the floor, I'm not making the money, so I just scaled. 2 clients away, give me 4 hours. I put it into info products, network marketing, cool. Once I got it to a certain level, a couple more clients away, put more in, and I just kept chopping away at it until eventually I was able to be like, now I'm completely online. But I think they don't understand, like, you don't need to do it all at once, scale, do different things, but get yourself some freedom of time by being like, what process is my business, even my brick and mortar, can I automate so that I'm getting 5 hours back of my week, and now I got 5 hours to go learn the new skill sets, to be in the new environment with people that will teach me the new way, so I can now elevate. That's the thing that I think they got to just work through.
So let's talk about some of that stuff. So now Susie is seeing your value, she's seeing your stuff. So how does Susie get into your gym in the first place?
Well, I mean, depending on the different ways that somebody would come in, but I like using a lot of Facebook ads, different ads like that and whatnot. But we all know, well, they should know that Facebook prefers when you drive to content. So, and content is what the market wants, because that's what builds tribes, that's what serves, before we ever ask anybody for $1. That I would be looking at whatever those said problems were. Let's just say how to manage your day so that you can get fitness in. Well, that blog, that content, I'd be able to drive some ass to that. Then when mom reads that, I was like, that was really good content. I would have another free giveaway. Hey, here's 3 foods that you can make that your kids will like as well, so you don't got to cook 2 meals. The mom's just like, oh my God, thank you, somebody understands me.
Right.
Somebody understands me. Let me give you my name and email here. That opens up and allows you to, because like, if you're working with a stay-at-home mom, you've probably been like, I've had to say this to every stay-at-home mom I've ever worked with, and then that becomes the bottleneck. You're like, how many times can I have this conversation? I would take that content and start building out the plan for it, be driving that, and then being like, cool, she takes the little free gift. It teaches her a little bit about some meal planning stuff, and then via there, I would start to being like, well, now that was like a couple dates. Now we've gotten to know each other a little bit. We added some value. Hey, now I think I'm ready to move you to the next level. I might have that first little beginner program. I like to do little like 7-day programs that a person can come in as an intro offer, versus like, hey, here's the 7-day free pass type thing, that there's no real value to just 7 sessions. But if there's the like stay-at-home mom beginner survival guide on getting back into fitness, now they're like, oh, I like that. And
it's more than just working out.
Right. Because
like
also the content gets into her life. Look at it from when she's waking up. What is she going through? She's not just thinking about her workout and her meal plan. She's thinking, where's my kids? There's one naked. He ran out the house. I got to go get him. I got to deal with this and that. I got a husband, whatever. And she's got to think through her life. And I would say most people don't struggle with the fitness and the nutrition. They struggle with what's happening here in their lives. So if we can start incorporating into programs empowerment, mindset, personal development, we're going to actually tackle the reasons why they're not showing up for their sessions, why they're not following the program. They're depressed over a self-esteem issue, or feeling like I'm out of control, where I can't manage my kids barely, my day feels it falls apart. So she has a lack of belief in herself, and you're like, come work out 7 days a week, She's not struggling with that. She's struggling with who she is, as an example. that I would be looking to be like, plan that out, because it's all great content. It builds steps and it allows you to be like, oh, I'm working on another part of my business, but because I thought of that funnel, I can create that into emails, autoresponders, videos, blogs, whatever. And now that is working all behind the scenes, that maybe the only time I got to step in is am I doing a consult? Because maybe I close best in person, or my staff does. So I might have a funnel to drive to the live.
So let's explain funnel real quick for those watching that just aren't familiar with that term.
Well, just think of it as a series of steps to get the outcome that you want. So if you're like, I want to get somebody into sitting down to a live consult, well, what are the steps behind all that you're like, well, I need to meet the person somewhere. Well, I meet the person on Facebook via like a forum for stay-at-home moms. That's where I want to meet her. But then I want to do what? I want to teach her about mistakes that she's making, about choosing a fitness program. So that might be on my blog, but add to blog, then being like, well, then I want to send her a little additional value. I'm going to send her a free report. I need my email to do that. So you just start thinking through the steps, and all those little steps are what we call a funnel when you when you string them together.
And so what are the tools that you would use to make this funnel actually work? Because you can't just use your Gmail.
No. Those aren't business tools necessarily.
Right.
You need a professional email like service system, Active Campaign.
Which is cheap.
100%. And that's the thing. I like Active Campaign also just because of the tracking is easy and it's very graphical. So trainers kind of can get that. Infusionsoft can paralyze them for freaking years or whatnot. But Active Campaign says, but you got GetResponse. You've got all those kind of things out there. MailChimp, that's another. MailChimp, did they start charging? They're still free.
They have a free version, I believe,
and then
still.
just depending on how many people you have.
Right, which if you're just starting out, your email list is so small that if there is a charge, it's like $20.
And they usually don't start charging to like 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And you got some time to build up to that'll get you going for right now.
Because your email list should be good anyway. You should be working on keeping your list clean as well.
Right.
So what else do you use? Do you use landing pages as well?
Yeah, I tend to use ClickFunnels, Russell Brunson.
Okay.
I think he's got one of the better systems out there because for most people, it gives them all the elements that they need. Lead page, they can even now do SMS text. It gives them the thank you pages, download pages. You can string that whole thing together, pretty much do everything.
And the lead pages are based on what your goal is.
Correct. And then you can actually see, and they do a great job of educating the person about the steps. So if somebody's new to it, you can just sit through some of their tutorials and you're literally like, I understand this now. But that means sit down and go through the tutorials.
That's the first step, just like the member, right? Just like you said, your member it's not the nutrition, it's not the fitness, it's the decision up here. With the business owner as well, it's overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's not the landing page, it's not the email. What a lot of them will do is they'll sell themselves and they'll say, oh, that's not for me. That's not how I do things.
Right.
I'm not good at that stuff.
Well, I think the thing that scares them is tech. They're scared of the tech. I was literally talking to somebody outside my session, and she's like, I don't do the website stuff. I don't do whatever. I'm like, do you realize that everything is like plug and play and drop like template now? Everything is, I'm like, you guys just haven't visited the tech in a while.
There was time, because you're probably around my age, I don't know, give or take, but I know that I graduated in 2000, okay, high school. And when I graduated in 2000, the computer,
Damn you.
when I graduated in 2000, the internet and the computer era, it was just kind of becoming something. It wasn't really like there were some people, some players in it that were like already getting money off it and learning it. But for the most part, like it was still like cool when your friend had a computer. Like, oh, you got a computer, you got internet? Wow, and you have to sign on. It's like, oh, it's Monday at 5, so it takes a long time to sign in, right? But I remember like before that, like the few years before that, it was uncool to be good at computers and internet, right? Like you'd be like, oh, you're a computer guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not a computer guy. It was cool. And what happens is that person that said that back then has a business today and forgot that is not cool anymore to say that.
Right.
In fact, it's the most uncool thing in the world to hear someone say, oh, I'm not a computer guy. Like that makes you extremely lame. Like, what do you mean?
That means like, and in particular, if you're a business owner, it means like you don't give a crap about building your business, sharing your message, or getting your vision out there.
Right.
You just literally like you want a job that is disguised as a business.
Right.
That's the thing, because if you're like, and you don't need to be good at computers, you need to understand the psychology of what
how you
gotta
can
do
use
for
the
your
tool.
100%. Because the tech isn't tough anymore. But what's tough is sitting down and being like, I got to think through my client, and I got to think through what they're going through. What are they dealing with? What are their struggles? What are their problems? What are their frustrations? Their wants, their ambitions, their aspirations? Because that's what I'm really supposed to be going out and solving. That's what I'm in the business of doing. Either I'm solving their problems and lifting their ambitions, or I'm just selling them stuff.
Right.
Different thing. And that psychology is tough. Because that means you got to know a little bit about copy, you got to know about emotional triggers and things like that, and you got to start being like, I got to learn a new skill set if I'm going to be the marketer and the business owner.
Yeah.
We got to do that today.
It is drag and drop now. You don't have to know code. You don't have to know that, but like you said, you know the psychology, you know the goals. Now it's just like, okay, these are the tools. You know, lead pages is even simpler than ClickFunnels.
It is.
But
it's very limited, you know, the limited
is.
like graphics and whatnot.
Right,
And
right.
A lot of people like want to have a little bit more professional look.
Right.
But hell, we all still use lead pages. It's there because sometimes they have different
It'll still get
functions.
people a lot of results.
It'll get people on your list.
Right.
It'll get them moving into the funnel. Don't let that be what holds you back. Make the decision to just say, I'm going to get in the game.
Right.
And I got to start doing this stuff.
What are your thoughts on video, Facebook Live, all that new stuff that's happening right now?
Got to be doing it. I mean, video is the number one way because it's just, we get to get your personality, we get to feel you. Barring you're a really good copywriter, email marketing is tough for people to really get emotion and context and that kind of stuff going inside. But video allows us to connect. It allows people to really feel like I'm getting to know you. I get your idiosyncrasies and all that kind of stuff. And we get to just teach oftentimes what's easiest for us because writing is tough for people. But I can turn on a camera and be like, all right, I can shoot 3 lessons right now. Right. And that's how people like to digest things right now. So we got to look at behavior. If people want that and you're not doing it, well, then you're just, it could be, again, to your point, a choice that you don't want that segment of the market, fine, but otherwise, as a business owner, you got to make responsible decisions and be like, I got to get in the game of doing video. Facebook Live is just an element of interaction, community. There's a vulnerability to it. There's a rawness to it that people like. Because
you could interact live with
100%.
People that are talking to you, which people love because they love hearing their name.
And people like to know they have access to you as well.
Right.
That you're not just always in a closed video and whatnot, but they're like, no, here I am interacting with you live. And that's about human connection, and we should be applying that in our business.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, with Facebook Live, it's one of those things I think fitness studio owners, people in the fitness space, I think they forget how much of an advantage, or they haven't thought how much of an advantage they already have, as opposed to some other industries like plumbers and AC people that don't motivate people for a living, that don't inspire people for a living, that don't talk to people and really like have conversations about this stuff for a living. Like a plumber, I don't even want to know what he's doing. Like I just
hey guys, here I am live fixing this toilet right now.
Yeah, this thing's awesome. So like me as a customer of a plumber, if a plumber comes in, it's as simple as conversation as him going, yeah, this is broken, this needs a fix. Okay, cool, can you do it? Yeah, how much is it gonna cost? This much. Well, it's either yes or no.
As a plumber though, if I owned a plumbing business, I would get creative and being like, okay, what are the 3 massive mistakes you make when you try to fix the toilet yourself? What is the one thing you should never do when you're trying to unclog the sink?
Right.
I would start putting out content like
angles.
that.
There's
but
angles.
I'm like, there's angles, but that's
my
what we want the
point
audience
is
to get.
you are not the average plumber.
Yeah.
The way you talk and your ability to communicate and do that and get in front of video, the average plumber doesn't have that personality. The average fitness studio owner does.
That's right.
These guys have an advantage. They've been practicing the ability to teach people how they can be better at this.
Right,
They've
they
been
have
practicing.
the skill set.
Right.
You're like, you just got to transfer it over to video.
Yeah,
and
that's
not be
it.
free to. I think they also get scared that it exists forever, or they made a mistake. And you're like, dude, first of all, that feed is gone in like seconds.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
And vulnerability is important for people, so that's cool. And people love immediacy. That also you as a trainer, like you're like, I just thought of something. I just had an amazing experience with a client. And I'd love to turn to my clients and be like, you know what? She was going to give up, and she's like, I couldn't do 1 more, so instead I did 3. That's the kind of attitude that we want to see. Like you can turn on a camera for 2 seconds.
And that makes people want to be that person. And if I'm a stay-at-home mom, and that's a stay-at-home mom, and her body type's similar to where I am, I can do it.
Yeah.
That whole thing, I mentioned this in an episode too. I have no idea which one, but where in 1950 up to 1958, it was physically impossible. It was considered physically impossible to run a mile in under 4 minutes. Mm-hmm. Nobody can do it. One person did it, and 20,000 people have done it within 20 years. Because once people see that it can be done, like that debunks
Once you
that
lift
whole
the ceiling and shatter the ceiling. That's right.
Right, and so you can do that same thing, and I think a lot of people are afraid of what they should talk about. And you just think about the most common things that you talk about all the time. So, you as a fitness coach, have you ever had somebody ask you, hey, what should I eat before I work out? Have you ever had somebody say like, hey, if I missed a meal, can I like double up? Have you ever had somebody say like, I heard it's bad to eat before I go to bed? Is that true?
And that's the stuff that we were talking about. That I'm like,
simple stuff.
How many times have you said that to every client? Like, shoot a video with that. Make that a blog post. Make that something that you're like, honestly, I got a great question on that. I get this question all the time, so I shot a quick video on that. Go check it out. And now you're like, I'm off doing something else in my business versus like having the same conversation I've had with 150 of my different members before.
Right.
Automate that. Get some lifestyle back. Get some like, it's okay to be home before 9 p.m.
Right.
And start spending some time with your kids and things like that. And start like thinking a little bit bigger. But it means we got to scale up the vision. What's awesome is that there's people like you doing this. I'm pumped with what Bold is doing by being like, we're changing the conversation and the number of sessions that are around business, marketing, and things like that. That the next 3 to 5 years are going to be exciting as it's becoming cool to be in the business and marketing side of stuff, and not just being the technician side.
Right.
Not that there's anything wrong with the technician side. You get the point, though.
No, because you love to do it, but at the same time, you will hit a ceiling for sure, because there's nobody that's going to be looking at that stuff like you will. And the thing with marketing, I think a lot of entrepreneurs, E-Myth, right? I heard technician. I'm assuming you read E-Myth, right?
Yeah.
So, certain books and speakers, they'll teach you like, build a team, build a great team, and delegate, and have these guys do it. You do what you do best and what nobody else can do, and hire other people that are better than you do. And that, I think, is a great philosophy. There's just an asterisk that should be applied to it that a lot of people don't realize. When you first start your business, think about when you first started, you had no capital, you just kind of like
Why
did
are you
it,
doing
right?
That? Why are you bringing me back there?
Right. Yeah, it's a rough place for me too. But think about when you first started it, you did a lot of different things, but you didn't do everything, right? But you did everything that you could do. You did the books, you did the sales, you did the customer service, you did the networking, you did the training, you did everything. But one thing you never did, because you didn't have the money to do it, is you never did the internet marketing. Because it costs money, and you just didn't have that to kick off. So now it's all of a sudden you start building the business, and maybe you delegate the books to your wife, right? That's kind of starts, right? That's usually how it starts, or like somebody, right? Your sister,
you're
right?
nailing it perfect.
and then after that, you're like, okay, I need to get another trainer in here to help me with other classes. So then you get another trainer. And then maybe you get somebody like customer service to be able to answer the calls and help with the schedule and hang up the shirts and keep the place clean, right? But the thing is, it's easy to hire those successfully because you've done all those jobs.
Yep.
Then you want to hire a marketing person. And you've never done that job. And so you're not going to know what questions to ask. You're not going to know what expectations to expect.
Sure you weren't in my session?
Is this what you talked about?
I mean, it's just,
I wasn't.
it's just the exact thing that I'm like, you know how we want to alleviate the pain of something. So marketing became a pain. So people want to alleviate that pain. So they're like, I'm just going to hire somebody. I'm going to have somebody else do it. And they go to that done-for-you tactics, or you do it for me. And there's some good to that. But if you don't know what marketing should be or what's good marketing, you won't know if the ad they put in front of you is good, if it's going to convert the message, what they did to your website. And then you're spending a ton of money.
And you have poor expectations because you don't know what good expectations are.
That's right.
100 leads, is it good or bad? I don't know. What did I do?
Right.
How much should I spend? And what are what's my sales process like? What kind of leads are they? Am I just getting opt-ins to a recipe?
Is it to a high-end offer? Is it a low-end offer? What are we talking about here?
And in what time frame?
That's right.
100 leads in what, like a week? Or 3 months?
That's right.
So there's so many things to consider before you just judge it.
That's right.
But unfortunately, if you don't have good, it's like fitness. If I know nothing about fitness, 0 things, I've never played in fitness ever. I've never worked out. I've never focused on eating healthy. I was just somehow, unfortunately, raised in this household where I didn't get to do things. And all of a sudden, I come to you as a trainer and I go, so what do? I help people get in great shape. And my expectation of great shape is Arnold Schwarzenegger on stage in the 80s, right? And I go, okay, cool. That's what I want. Okay, cool. So I can pay you for this and you can get me in great shape. Yeah, okay, great. Unfortunately, great shape hasn't been clearly defined.
That's right.
And I don't have good expectations because I don't know what fitness is. So now all of a sudden you go, hey man, great job. We lost 6 pounds this month. Yeah, you think that's good? I look nothing like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's right.
yeah, well, dude, that's not how fitness works. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger there's a long way we got to go.
Oh, you wanted bodybuilding. Oh, there's a different outcome. I didn't know that.
Right, and by the way, there's some steroids involved. Is you okay with this? And so with marketing, it's the same thing. What do you do here? I help you get leads and ultimately help you convert those leads into sales. Great, that's what I want. Okay, great. So you hire the company. Hey, I got like 60, 70 leads this month. I didn't get any sales yet. Yeah, well, what's the sales process look like? You know, and okay, well, I've been doing this for 5 years. I don't have a sales problem. And so now there's issues, right?
It's
because there's a lot to consider because you've never done marketing like that.
Or you just, I mean, to your point, like they just don't think of the sales process, and that's why it's literally like all I think about is body, and I make offer. I'm like, that's pitching. And that's what makes them feel like accosted. That's what makes you feel creepy to people. That's what we've notoriously done in the industry.
And like everyone else.
100%. And literally it goes back to like, you know, that will work if the person already had an idea. I have heard about personal training. I know what personal training is. And today's the day. I woke up and today's the day I'm going to go buy some personal
And I have
training.
like $600 and I don't know what to do with it.
Exactly.
How many of those are in your 5 mile radius?
And that's usually about like a 3% conversion, and you're literally like, and everybody is fighting for that person. So you're in a dogfight with all of them, as compared to the rest of the market that might need some education. Why you? Why different? Why now? Why does this actually help? I don't even know what my problem really is.
Right.
So if you don't define my problem, I don't know what steps I'm supposed to take.
Right.
And that is just, that's the work.
You ever follow Frank Kern's stuff?
Oh hell yeah.
So Frank Kern's great, and one of the things he talks about.
We must have done every program the same.
yeah, I know, and you're Italian, which is good.
Yeah, exactly.
So one of the things that Frank Kern talks about that I really like is he says, you know, the 3%, right, which is maybe where you got that, but the 3% is ready to buy and make a decision right now. And then you got about 11%, I think he was saying, it was something in the teens, when you add it with the 3. Now these people were ready to buy, they just didn't know they were ready to buy, and once you put it in front of them, they're like, okay, yeah, I just knew I needed a solution, here it is.
They just need to kind of know why you.
Why you, yeah. And then there's everybody else. This is where the biggest opportunity is, but people don't want to play here. They want to fight over this 3%. The problem is that 3%, if they already know what they want, they already have the money, they're usually already worth somewhere.
Yep.
And so you're now looking to take them from somebody. Very rarely are they just kind of sitting around the house with money, ready to sign up with somebody
to call.
to
That's the person that's most susceptible to a lower price, because they're like, I know what I want, and if I can get it somewhere else, I can be quickly bought away. So their loyalty is very different. And then that's got your business in the feast and famine. That's why we have a lot of the feast and famine type stuff. That it's that, like, it's funny because it's like you got that 3%, 7% are like, I'm aware, I just don't know why you. Then there's like a 30% that are like, I just don't know why now. Because it's like the mom that's just like, I'm pregnant, I know I'm going to need to get fitness after I have the baby, but you could be like, oh, hold on a second though.
Right.
Actually, it's the worst thing you do is to wait until then, because if we can get something going now, you won't gain as much, your back will feel better, you won't deal with sciatica, you won't have this. So all of a sudden she's like, oh my God, now I understand why I need it now. And you happen to have a like prenatal fitness program, not just sessions.
Right.
Prenatal, much more to me, I understand it. So that you got that market there, but then you got the person that's just unconscious, they don't know. One of my friends was, used to always grow up with like really bad stomach pains, and he never knew why. Till he was at a conference one time, and a guy starts talking about like gluten allergies and what happens with the irritable, and he's just like, oh my God, I think I have a gluten allergy. I had no idea that this is it. So once that guy made him aware of the problem and the symptoms, he was able to then track to being like, I now know I need the solution, and you actually have a program for that.
Right.
That's the 67% that we could be tapping into. And then 30% will never buy from you, so screw them, it doesn't freaking matter. Let them go and stop worrying about that. But there's the 70% as compared to just that little 3% that you can fight over.
And the only way you're going to get that is if you really respect the skill set needed for a good sales process. And the skill can be developed, but I think a lot of people, they were told by family members and friends that are extremely introvert that they're so outgoing and you have such a gift of gab and you're so good at talking with people. So they never think they have a sales problem because to their family members, they may be the best one there. but are you the best of the other 10 fitness studios in that 5-mile radius or 3-mile radius that are also looking to go after that same person? That's the difference. Not are you the best of your circle of friends, not are you the best in your gym.
That's right.
Are you the best of all the other people around there? Do you have the best sales system? Not just the best gift to gab, not just the most likable personality, not just the most knowledge in your head about fitness, but do you have the best sales system? The episode that we had just shot with Liberty, if you get a chance to watch it, which hasn't even been edited yet because we just shot it yesterday, but she is killing it. She started her first franchise at the age of 21, sold all 65 locations by 24.
What's the franchise?
It was Liberty Fitness back then. Wow. Her name's Liberty Harper. She started at 21, at the age of 21, sold 65, all of them, 65 locations by the age of 24. Would you say she knows her stuff? You don't just do that, right?
Yeah.
And so now,
but do you think she was focusing on the training side, or was she focusing on
entrepreneurial
skills?
She focused on the business side. That's what we talked about. And then now she just started another franchise in January, and she got her first location up, and she's already got 4 others. She got 5 total locations already, and the main one is being used as a prototype that she personally is running with everything, and then using it for the other franchisees to be successful.
Okay, so such a great example, because that's the difference between being the marketer and being the entrepreneur that's in control of the process. She learned the process to profit.
Her process is ridiculous.
Right, so now she has the skill set to be able to, I can repeat that process and go here. It wasn't one and done type thing. It wasn't
because of me.
From the hip, exactly.
Right.
She's like, I've learned to be the person that understands what goes into doing all this. So she's in control of her business. She's in control of her future. She's in control of her life. That's a great place for the industry to start thinking about. If you just want to be like, I've got to make the conscious decision to start mastering none of us were born to, you didn't come out of the womb, hey, look, I'm Mikey here as an entrepreneur and a business owner and da-da-da.
I think that's how the doctor talked too.
It slipped right into an Italian.
It was in Garfield, New Jersey, so there's a good chance.
That, we chose to put that skill as something that you're like, that's on my agenda.
Right.
That's on my to-do list. That's what I'm going to go after. So at the end of the day, we're going to become the people that know how to do that. That also brings a lot of peace of mind. And I think the industry could use a little more peace of mind and a little less being scared about their businesses. But choice. Start studying this stuff.
And for those of you that, because obviously if you're watching this episode or you're listening to this episode, it's because it's already out, and the one before it has already been out for a week already, because the other one's going to come out. So go back and listen to the episode right before this one with Liberty, because what Vito and I are really talking about, what he's really saying, all this marketing stuff is fantastic, but it means nothing if you don't have a really good sales process to follow.
That's right.
Because the leads are worthless. It's like having a gym with the best equipment in the whole world, right? The gym with the best equipment in the world without a workout process. Like you just go in and pull stuff around. You're not going to get in shape. Just because you have a fridge with healthy food, but you don't know how to eat the healthy food. Like apples are healthy, but you shouldn't have 15 a day. So it doesn't mean you have a process. And so with the gym, I think it's the same thing. You need to have a process that you are running, not you. Because if you have to build a second location and you can't be at both places at once, or if you want to take a vacation, or if you want to really scale this thing, you can't be the person selling every person.
That's right.
And so great, you have a gift of gab. That's fantastic. Great, you are the most talkative person in your group of friends. That's great, and great, customers love you and you have a good conversion rate.
I hope you can duplicate yourself somehow.
I hope somehow you can afford yourself over and over again.
That's right.
Because you can't hire yourself, but you can create a great process that people can run. And that's what E-Myth talks about, right? It's not people running a business, it's a process running a business that people run the process.
And that's where now, today, automation is really also helping you. Because you don't have to then put so much of the systems on internal staff. Because, I don't know, are you based in California? No, you're based in Phoenix. Obviously with the things that are happening with the raises in minimum wage and all the regulations and all that stuff, it's just driving costs up for brick and mortar, that you got to start looking at I got to have this business run lean and mean with as few people as possible to still create the experience and the things that I
Right.
want, because otherwise I'm adding payroll, I'm adding expenses, I'm adding just all the headaches that come with labor as compared to, look at what Southwest and other companies, and they're like, yep, check it in yourself. Baggage is there because we just stripped out 5 more people to save on this, that we got to just look at these little things that we can start drop shipping into our business that allow us to take, if you are that great salesman, that's why you turn on the video.
Right.
That's why you do that, because then your energy, your voice, your thing is heard, and you're not, that's quality control, if you will. We can start doing that now.
And you
in
use
industry.
Active for a lot of your automation, right?
Active Campaign?
Active Campaign.
Correct.
And so now the cool thing is you can not only use Active for your marketing automation, but even for your internal processes once they become a member, right? So once they become a member,
Indoctrination, new member pack, all that stuff. Person joins a program. It shouldn't be just, I joined a program, you're in.
Great,
There should be
show up.
consumption emails, introducing them to the community.
a
getting them
month
into
later,
stuff.
asking them how that, a scale of 1 to 10, would you refer your business to a friend, or
All
a
that
company to a
referral
friend?
stuff, all that. There's so many elements to creating amazing customer service that you can use your email server and all, your email autoresponders and things like that. It's just, I was talking to a coach once, and he's just like, so am I supposed to do this stuff? I'm like, if you want to get to the next level, yeah. He's like, God, I hate just carving out. I'm like, well, then just stay broke and keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a cool choice.
I'm like, that's it,
You
dude.
can
I'm
either
like-
hate something now or hate something forever.
Oh, but the thing then is exactly, and then either just choose to that's the life. That's as if you're turning to your clients. Why can't you get this together? Why can't you just come in and do your program and stuff like that? And they're like, I just don't whatever. And you're like, I hate coming in, and you got stuff to say to them, but then when it comes to your own business and marketing, you don't want to take that pain of going and learning that stuff. Well, then just don't complain, understand what's going on, and if you made that choice willingly, and then it costs you your marriage because you're freaking tight on money, it costs you time with your kids and relationships with them, it costs you potential bankruptcy and whatnot, isn't that, then
That's got to be tougher.
Nobody
than
didn't
sitting
warn
down-
ya.
That's got to be tougher than sitting down for a few hours every Saturday for a couple months and really getting this thing down.
100%. When you, I remember when I was first learning autoresponders and stuff, yeah, it sucked. It was hours, whatever it was. Let's just say it was 40 hours of really learning stuff. But if it bought me 4 hours a month back in my life, in 10 months, I'm flush with the 40 hours, and now for the rest of my life, I have 4 hours to go out and build a bigger empire, spend more time with my family, enjoy life, whatever the things are that you want in your life. They just, sometimes it's that short-sighted view that you're not seeing what the long picture is.
You know what the funny thing is too, and this is something that I bet you can relate to yourself. I know it was my story, and a story of a bunch of fitness guys that I know, where I was not an internet guy. I wasn't a marketing guy. I owned a personal training company for quite a few years, and that's all I did.
Yep.
And I had 3 trainers working underneath me. We had about 80, 90 clients, and I didn't even have a website.
We had the same business here.
Okay, it was terrible. And I didn't even want to get a website. The only reason I had a laptop is because I thought it was cool that it had the flip thing so I could take before and after pictures. It was really cool.
What laptop was that?
It was the first one that had a camera on. It was a Sony Vio or a Via,
That's
whatever it was.
hilarious.
But I didn't even have a website. And I remember I didn't want to get into all that stuff. And so for everybody that's listening or watching, people may know me as a really techie, marketing savvy guy. That just happened. I wasn't born, in school, I was that guy that said, I'm not a computer guy.
Right.
I'm not an internet guy. And
What flipped for you? What made you change to being that's not my label. I don't have to be that for the rest of my life. What made you be I want to learn this stuff now? What was the flip?
Truthfully, I was broke. I had a kid on the way, and I got kicked out of my house, and my car just got repoed all on the same day, one day. It was a really weird So I had a lot of things happen.
Adversity is a big stimulus.
Right, and so I had to figure something out, and I knew that the internet seemed like something I should be learning. I kept seeing it, and it was the only thing I could afford to do while I was staying at my mom's house now, and she had internet, so started kind of learning it a little bit, and then I learned how to help other people with it that were even less savvy than me, and then I just started doing it for them, and then next thing I knew, here's the thing, and you'll agree with this, it was very hard for me to learn. The very first day was a nightmare. I felt why am I doing this? There's got to be a better thing for me to do than this. And then
once I started getting it, it's like my brain learned to learn faster.
Yeah.
My brain was able to like understand these things better and faster. And just like anything you're naturally good at, you enjoy doing them more. So now because my brain was able to understand it faster, I was getting good at it. And because I was getting good at it, I was starting to like it. And because I was starting to like it, I would do it more. And then it just became to the point where
That's
it's
the
like
classic Tony Robbins competency loop. You just started getting better at it. That builds your confidence. You get results. You want to do it more, and you're in that.
Next thing you know, my hobby is reading a blog on funnels.
Exactly.
Like that's what I want to do on the plane.
Listen, we're not saying that. Like, I legitimately have probably punched a screen or two in frustration.
I may or
over
may
it.
not have.
But but you know what? All that struggle, all that frustration has led to the ability to now be like, I can scale the message, I can build vision, I can do the legacy I want to leave behind. And that's more important than the pain of going and learning a new skill set. And I think if more people just being like, this is what we got to do, if you've got that big enough vision to be like, I have to invest in new skill sets in order to get my message out in bigger ways. Otherwise, like, I'm just limiting that. And to some people, that's fine. I'm not saying everybody has to go that way, but there are a lot of people, because the fitness industry is very like big hearts, big souls. They want to change a lot of lives. And sometimes I'm like, when we look at the industry average of what people are making and how many hours they're putting in and what their lifestyle stack up, there's something to being like, the skill set needs to shift. What we were taught isn't getting us there. So maybe it's now the fact that, well, I mean, granted, now we're changing conversation, but make that choice quicker, because the speed of things moving now, it's going to either have you like competing and leading the pack, or struggling, laggard, or phased out.
You have a website that people can go to and learn some of this stuff?
Yeah, vitolafata.com.
Can you put that on the screen, Sam? Okay,
Sure.
cool. And then I mentioned digitalmarketer.com and ClickFunnels. Are there any other sources that you really love that you can recommend for where these guys may be today?
No, I mean, those are the ones I would stick with right there. Outside of obviously stuff that we've got out or whatnot, because I'm partners with digital marketers, so we've translated a lot of their stuff into the fitness industry. Right. But those are, I mean, great tools: ActiveCampaign, ClickFunnels, Digital Marketer. Those are, I don't know if they really need any more tools than that. Where
They
they're
don't.
At. Outside of like, start setting like in your personal development plan. Start setting aside to be like, I'm going to start reading marketing books or watching webinars.
You don't mean
and things
something like
that.
What they tell their members to do, like set up time in their calendar to work out, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so just like that.
Exactly.
So it should be easy for them because
Pretty
they
much.
tell others to. Okay,
Pretty much.
I get it.
Just scheduling it in.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If you like this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Stitcher, and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.